Hey, let's just review it again, even though I just did on last video, so here we go. Current blood sugar is 6.8, still fully calibrated, no corrections. The corrections have dropped off since the last time I spoke with you. Pretty stable night. Had a good night, had a good solid sleep, and I think that's pretty well important. Right now, I have no active insulin. The pump is still giving me basal rate, but when we say no active insulin, it's more of corrections and or self-administered insulin. So, today I want to talk to you about well-balanced meals. And are they still important as a diabetic? Stay tuned. We'll be right back. This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. Now, being a diabetic, we on this channel have spouted a type 1 diabetic can have anything they want to have. Pure and simple. However, you have to count carbs. It should be a well-balanced. And what are we talking about well-balanced? There are people who say just eat meat and fats and you'll be fine. That's not really what I mean, but it's good that you get well-balanced meals and you're not eating all red meat all the time. But your brain does need some carbs. Maybe not the amount of carbs that we normally eat in a Western society, but your brain does still need carbs from whole grains, from fruits and vegetables. They still need to be limited and they still need to be watched on how much carbs we eat and consume. Proteins such as chicken, stay away from red meats as much as possible. If you're a meat eater, great. If you are a plant-based eater, it's important to remember that you still need protein. There was a girl when I was involved in scouting who a whole family was coming to help us out at a cub camp. And she said, well, I only eat this, I only eat that. And I said, you can't limit yourself to one variety of food. And that goes whether you're vegetarian or you're a meat eater or whatever diet you're on. You need to get your sources from different types of food. She was just eating beans. I know that sounds weird, but okay. All jokes aside, she was eating beans, and the beans were the only thing. She wasn't getting proteins. She was getting her carbs from a different source. That isn't the best sort of meal. Make sure you get some leafy greens in there, your salad, and don't drown it in salad dressing. All the hidden fats, and a lot of times those interesting flavors are packing a whole bunch of sugar. So read your bottles, find out the amount of carbs. Now, there are plates. You can get these plates that are divided up into three. One for your protein or your vegetables, depending on what diet you're on. One for meats, and one for other carb vegetables. You want grains, so rice works well. Potatoes are a lot heavier in carbs, and you really should try to stay away from them. You can have them occasionally. Remember, as a type 1 diabetic, you can pretty well have anything you want. If you want that piece of cake, let's say you're out to dinner and you want to have that piece of cake because you saw it go by, you can have that piece of cake. Just account for it in your dosing of insulin. Because remember, at the end of the day, it's your job trying to make sure that your blood sugars stay within reason. So there's just something over here. But don't get out of your acceptable ranges. For me, take a look at it. Or maybe I'll do it on here, sorry. I don't know if you can tell, down here we have a green. And 5 is sort of at a middle pace. But keeping your blood sugar in this green area is the end of the day goal. Getting that 100% is awesome, but getting 93, 94 is just as great. Today, I got 95%. But does that really make me, oh God, I'm failing as a diabetic? No. The one thing I say I really need to work on is here. And that's probably going to be with the well-balanced diet and counting the carbs. Carbs can be your friend. Overeating carbs is like waking up the next day after a day of a party and finding you have a headache. You're going to always have to be careful of what you eat, pure and simple. Now, we've talked a bit before about the 90-10 rule. 90% of the time, follow your diet. Follow a plan of eating well-balanced meals. Sort of like your fruits, your grains, your whole complex carbs. Simple carbs are simple sugar, and they're just going to be released into your bloodstream, and you're going to have a spike. It's not a pretty sight. And of course, it's not going to do much for your mental health because, I tried to do my best, and look, my blood, it's only saying 32%. It's not going to be the end of the world. But eating regularly works well. And then the 10% of the time, yes, you can have that bowl of ice cream or that cake or that chocolate bar if you want. But again, counting your carbs are going to be the safest bet. Giving insulin appropriate to those carbs. Now, if you're totally sworn off red meats and that you're not going to eat carbs, there's nothing really left except protein to fill you up. And protein, if you're taking it away from meats, a lot of times you're going to have protein. And then if you go vegan, there's a lot more challenging to find foods that are going to fill you up. So just remember that. Think about what your body actually needs to live. I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a doctor, but just from years, you do need complex carbohydrate. Doesn't mean you need to have huge amounts of it, but anything under 30 grams of carbs is considered to be a low carb diet. You're not going to get away from carbs. I think our body is used to working on carbs, especially this big organ up here. It needs carbs. So you need carbs to regulate your blood sugar. You don't need 90% carbs. I eat a high carb diet because I don't really choose my diet here. It's already designed for me, let's put it that way. You can find suitable meal plans. Just make sure you take a look at their sauces. The plan I used to have filled me up. At first I thought, oh my God, is this ever small? But it filled me up. I was able to carry on. It had enough protein in it, it had enough carbs that I was happy, I was go-lucky. A lot of times I had a lot more energy because it helped control some of my blood sugar, helped control my cravings. My cravings went down from every time I had to go out, I had to get food, to, okay, I'm fine. I'm not as hungry as I was. So, things to watch out for. First of all, a well-balanced meal has fruits and vegetables. Remember, any vegetable that has sort of a rich color is going to contain carbs. And carb-free diets should be not outlawed, but should not be kept. A low carb, that's where that's when we're flying. Okay? High carb doesn't have any place to do in a diabetic's diet. Complex carbohydrates work the best where it takes time to break down the chains and your blood sugars don't go through the roof. I think you need to learn and to follow the rules of carb counting. Open up to have a salad. Be careful with the fats in the salad dressing, hidden sugars in any sauce. A lot of times sugar wants you to have more. Excuse me. It's early morning. And that may not be the best sort of thing you want to have in your diet. You can get plates that divide your meal up so you can visualize how much you're actually having. More salad could be best, but you don't have to be. One of the things I hear from people when they're saying, oh, you should eat better, is, oh, well, yeah, sure, you want me. All want me to eat as a rabbit. No, we're not saying that, but incorporate some non-drowned lettuce, tomatoes into your diet. And when I mean by non-drowned, I mean don't fill it up with salad dressing. Eat at the same time will help control your blood sugars. So remember, well balanced is protein. Could be fish, could be beans, whatever. Cheese works well. You also need complex carbohydrate. Could be grains, could be rice. Rice is a grain, I know. But be sensible in your eating. A lot of times just counting, pulling back the reins on the carbs and eating more leafy green vegetables and vegetables in general will help you and your blood sugars. Remember, I'm not a dietitian or a doctor. Check it out. Have a great day. Bye now. My email is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com.